practiced twice last week. I had a list of 7 to 10 guys who were going to opt out of a Rose Bowl or an Orange Bowl. CJ Stroud among them, Paris Johnson, probably DeJuan Jones, maybe Matthew Jones. There's 4 right there. Maybe Zach Harrison, 5, 6, 7, who knows? Ronnie Hickman, maybe he's already declared. So they come out on the practice field last week. They're not in the playoff yet. What's going through those guys' mind? Why am I out here? What are we doing? That had to be going through their mind. Like, why am I standing on a practice field at Ohio State when we're not in the playoff and I don't even know if I want to play in the bowl game? Why am I here? Those thoughts had to be permeating through 7 or 8 of these guys' head. And now, you're in the playoff. You're going to play, aren't you? You're going to play, aren't you? We're going to go try and win it all for good old State U. You tell me, where's this team at mentally? Where are they at? Where's the leadership? I don't know. I'm skeptical.
Yeah, I have that same question because you do have guys that once the loss to Michigan happened, the season was over.
They checked out.
And now you've got, and Jackson Smith and Jigba checked out long before that. And you see the attempts made there for him to come back. I don't know how strong they were, but you've got a long time to get back into that mode. And Ryan Day said they had 2 good practices last week, but I think once you check out, I think it's hard to check back in, especially when you've had guys that, and I think you're seeing this all around the nation, where guys are starting to check out earlier because they're looking at their next place to come because of NIL or because of playing time, because of the NFL, where everything speeds up in college football. And I think the looking over to the other side of the grass is also speeding up for a lot of guys. So I think it's going to be very difficult, or it's going to be not necessarily difficult, but it's going to be a challenge for Ryan Day. It's something that he's going to have to do, is to get everybody checked back in. And, I don't know how easy it is. I mean, it sounds easy. I just don't know that it is easy.
I want to get to a point that Steve made, and maybe a little disagreement I have about Ohio State having to play out of its head. No. Ohio State has to play where it was earlier in the season. And granted, a lot of the teams earlier in the season were inferior competition. But Ohio State has shown what it is capable of doing. Beating Georgia is not something that it's going to be, I hope. Ohio State has what it takes. Can Ohio State realize that? Can Ohio State re-engage? As both Steve and Tony have both said, it's a matter of re-engagement. I don't think that I would feel better if Ryan Day were more in the mold of Urban Meyer. This is the time where if you're going to come out and really try to fire your team up and get them whipped into shape, this is the time to do it. I don't know if when Urban Meyer was the head coach of the Buckeyes, I think everybody was constantly in fear of Urban Meyer coming around the corner and yelling at him, and maybe not something that's sustainable throughout the entire season. Everybody was able to exhale when Ryan Day became head coach. It was a lot more agreeable. It was a lot of the tension was taken out of the air. But now as the team lost its edge because there's not enough of that going on. And you can't go back to the days of Woody Hayes and very, 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 very physical coaching. If you kind of catch my drift of what's going on there, you're never going to be able to get back to that days. And maybe even in the days of yelling and screaming and getting in dudes' faces, it goes away. Well, heck, screw you. I'm going to the portal. I don't like that. I'm going to go find somewhere to get what I like. But I think Ohio State is going to have to do more than swing and fight and tough love and all that crap to be able to re-engage. That's, as I sit there and say this, I'm already kind of writing a story in my mind, and it's going to be about re-engagement.
Those are exceptional points right there, because it's daunting enough to try to match these teams up from a physical X's and O's, just purely football standpoint. And the mountain is difficult to climb just there. But to Kevin's point and everyone's point, Ohio State is certainly capable. the talent level is comparable on these two teams. So that's not the issue. It's, well, Ohio State has shown all these flaws throughout the season. And I'm sure if we had covered Georgia football extensively, play by play for 13 games, we could find some flaws there. So they've certainly shown up, just not on the big stage in obvious ways and less recently. And but when you guys dive into all of that, I thought that was expertly stated by all three of you, because that's what's been roaming around in my mind, but just not stated quite as well or specifically about that challenge. Absolutely.